Seems to be working.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we start over? Should we just go for it? What do you guys think? Okay.
Do we want to introduce ourselves?
What do you guys think?
Introduce ourselves when we get there.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go for it. You're here. We're here. You'll see our books. You'll tweet about them. You'll be supportive and great. Yeah? Okay. Just talking to myself now. Okay. So if you want to join the conversation, which I know you do, please. You're going to hashtag Bloomsbury Winter Preview. And that way, if the sound goes out, we'll know. And everyone can follow along. And we'll all be there and awesome. So if you missed our introduction, or since the sound cut out, I'm Emily. And I'm super excited to be here and introduce some books. So the first book I'm going to talk about is actually not a winter 2018 book. I'm going to do a quick throwback. It's a book you might have missed this fall, spring, summer, because it's just a book I really, really love, and I'm so excited about it that I don't want you to miss out on it. And it is called Song of the Current by Sarah Tolser. And here are 5, we'll see what happens, things that you might really love about this book. Glitter on the cover. Can you see that? Sweet glitter. There's smuggling. There's a love-to-hate relationship. There are pirates. And then there's a very nice consensual relationship. And I just think it's really sweet. So if you're into any of those things, which you should be, definitely check this one out. It's out now, so you don't even have to wait for it. And there's a sequel coming next year, and you're definitely going to want to read it after you check this one out. So check out Song of the Current. And if you have read this one and have already fallen in love with it, tweet us at Bloomsbury Winter Preview and tell me 1 or 5 of the things that you loved about this book, because I would love to hear from you. All right, now the book that I am most excited for in winter 2018, and if you know me at all, you already know that I'm really, really obsessed with this book. And it's because I tweet about it every single Thursday. And I'm going to tweet about it every single Thursday for like the next 15 weeks at least. Hashtag Rain the Day. I will be there tweeting, and you will be there tweeting with me, I hope. And the book is Rain the Earth. I love this book. I love Annie, the author. This is, according to Erin Bowman and myself, stealing Erin Bowman's words, the feminist fantasy I didn't know I needed. This book is so great. Okay, quick recap of this summary. Shalia is a daughter of the desert. Her family and her clan are at war with the Bonelands. Her family is the desert people. They are the city people. And to bring peace to their warring nations, she marries the king of the Bonelands. He turns out to be like kind of a jerk, and she turns out to kind of have the magic that he hates more than anything in the world, and not surprisingly, that creates a lot of tension. So there's a lot to work through, and turns out peace is really hard. So there's a lot going on here, and it's really beautifully written and very relevant to today with her striving to find peace and trying to find out her place as a woman of power and what she can do and what she can bring. And so those are the things I'm really excited about. And let me give you just a quick sneak peek before I slide on out of here of what you're going to see on this Thursday for hashtag Rain the Day. And it is the new Scarlet cover from Annie. I'm just going to give you a quick peek because I'm going to show you all of its glory on Thursday, but here it is. Okay, awesome. I can't wait to show you that and the other covers this Thursday. And I will be on Twitter through the rest of this preview. Hashtag Bloomsbury Winter Preview. So come tweet with me. And up next is Courtney.
Hello, everybody. I'm Courtney. Thank you so much for coming. Bye, Emily. See you later. So I brought a book that I am super excited about from our upcoming winter list. But before I get to that, I also brought one of my favorite books from our spring list, The Possible by Tara Altebrando. I'm not sure if you guys got to read this one, but if you read The Leaving, you will love The Possible. It is about a girl named Kaylee whose mother is serving a life sentence for murdering her younger brother when they were both little kids. And her mother has always claimed that this happened in a telekinetic fit, and it wasn't actually her fault. And Kaylee is now being raised by adoptive parents. She has a normal life, and she's trying to just go about her business. And then one day a reporter shows up, and she's going to do a podcast about her mother and what really happened and get to the bottom of everything. So, of course, this kind of shakes everything up for Kaylee. And makes her kind of question a lot of the things that she has been kind of ignoring for a while, and question some of the weird things that have happened in her own life, and maybe whether she has telekinetic abilities. So if you liked Serial, the podcast, or if you liked The Leaving, you will love The Possible. Shake everything up. And the next book is The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things. The cover is very shiny. So this book actually came out back in 2003. It's by Carolyn Mackler. It won a Printz honor, and we are so excited to be publishing the 15th anniversary edition of the book in April. Let me show you the new cover because it's very beautiful. I have a printout of it. Here it is with the beautiful award. So some of you may have read this a long time ago or not yet at all. Either way, you definitely should. The new edition will have updates and some new back matter. So TRL will no longer be referenced, sadly. But it will be totally relevant, and all of the issues that Virginia faces are still current with today. She's a girl who's dealing with body image. She's not like a stick figure. She doesn't fit in with the rest of kind of the popular girls in her class. She's living in New York City. She's trying to navigate her friendships, her perfect family. Her mom is a psychologist. Her brother goes to school at Columbia. Her sister is like a very beautiful, artistic, kind of like world traveler. And she just feels like she doesn't really fit in at all. In The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things, Virginia decides that she's going to give herself a set of rules called the Fat Girl Code of Conduct that she has to stick to. And she tries to follow these rules in her everyday life when it comes to a crush, a boy she likes named Froggy, and trying to figure out how she should behave and what the limits should be because of how she looks and how she feels about herself. So lots of tough issues in this. Her brother is also accused of sexually assaulting a girl he goes to college with. But Carolyn does a wonderful job of handling all of those issues, and Virginia is hilarious. So it's an excellent book to pick up. And I will give you a sneak preview. This doesn't come out until the spring, but this is the sequel. The universe is expanding, and so am I. And it picks up 3 months after Virginia's story closes. And so we'll get to see what happens with Virginia, with her love life, with her family. So we're really excited. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys. And here comes Anna.
guys, I'm Anna. I'm going to talk to you about two of my favorite books from our winter list. So the first is a picture book, Lola Dutch. Lola Dutch is by the husband and wife team, Kenneth and Sarah Jane Wright. Sarah Jane is known for having an Etsy shop, and she just has the most adorable fabrics and prints and wallpapers that I love looking at, and I definitely want to own myself and craft. But Lola is a really boisterous, creative girl. She's inspired by Kenneth and Sarah Jane's 4 children. They call them uniquely intense, and Lola is definitely a creative spirit. So on one morning when she wakes up, Lola has all these grand ideas, and her guardian, Bear, is a little wary because Lola's ideas involve lots and lots of different things. But by the end of the day, Bear realizes that, he's so glad to have experienced all of Lola's creativity. And Kenneth and Sarah Jane are really proud of Lola, and they love her imagination because it really just shows what embracing kids' creativity and imagination can do. I particularly really love the illustrations in this book. They're so chic, and each page is like a different mini work of art, and it's just so cute. And as you see, I'm wearing a red headband, just like Lola, in honor of her. The next book I'm going to talk about is a young adult title from our list. If you remember Letters to the Lost from this past winter, More Than We Can Tell is the companion to Letters to the Lost. You don't have to have read Letters to the Lost, but since More Than We Can Tell comes out in March, I highly recommend Letters to the Lost. It's a great read. So there are 2 points of views in More Than We Can Tell. The first is Rev. He is from Letters to the Lost, and I think he ended up being one of the favorite characters of everyone who read that book. So it's really great to finally read his story. Rev is adopted by an amazing family who have been helping him deal with the memories of his abusive father. And at the start of sorry, there's a little message. At the start of the book, he receives a letter from his father. So Rev doesn't really know how to react to getting this letter from someone he doesn't want to speak to anymore. The other point of view is from Emma Blue. Emma dreams of developing games just like her father. She already has a popular online game, but she's kept it a secret from her family because her mother doesn't really approve of her gaming or her aspirations. But then one day she starts receiving abusive and threatening messages from one of the players, and it sort of rattles her because this game was something she loved to do. So when Rev and Emma meet, they are finally able to share these secrets with each other and find someone that will really listen to them and hear what they are struggling with. If you've read Letters to the Lost, you know that Bridget writes amazing full characters. Juliet and Declan from Letters to the Lost appear in this book, and Rev and Declan's amazing friendship comes up again in More Than We Can Tell. There's also really great new characters. Matthew, I think, is one that everybody is going to really love. And there's also a dog. His name is Texie, and he's a yellow lab. And I really think that just takes this book to the highest level. So I highly recommend both of these books. And thanks for listening to me. Now on to
Hi guys! I have 2 fabulous books to talk with you about today, but I'm going to start with someone who you may recognize from your television, Chloe Lukasiak. She has Girl on Point, Chloe's Guide to Taking on the World, which is literally Chloe's Guide to Taking on the World. She talks about her start with Dance Moms, including some never-before-seen photos and backstage information, such as this adorable picture playing
She's
playing
so
crew.
little.
I know,
So cute.
baby Chloe. She's so cute. Chloe is incredible. We met with her recently, and I just love her. She's so dedicated to what she does, both dancing and she also works with the UN, and she has just spoken at the UN, which is something that I couldn't have even dreamed of at 16. She's incredibly impressive, super poised, really smart. And guys, she's like us, she's a reader. So we automatically felt like she was one of us. And she even includes her favorite books and her TBR. I won't spoil too much, but I will say she's a Sarah J. Maas fan, and we didn't even have to prompt her. She just is. So very exciting. So Chloe talks about her start on Dance Moms, how she dealt with bullying, and how she handles insecurity and uncertainty. She's really just like one of us. She's a real teenager, even though she spent many years on a reality TV show and has millions and millions of followers and fans, and I count myself among them. So be ready for that, coming out January 23rd. The next book I've got is Leah Thomas's When Light Left Us, and as you can see from the cover and my shirt, I dressed to match it because I love it so much. I didn't actually plan it, but clearly it's been stuck in my brain because I love this shirt and I love Leah. Leah is the author of Because You'll Never Meet Me, which was a Morris Award finalist, and she was also the author of Nowhere Near You, the sequel to Because You'll Never Meet Me. This book is a completely separate story, and it is beautiful, and typically of Leah, it will make you cry. But it's not just because it's sad, although there are sad parts. It's also because it's so real, and I think that that's really important, especially in something that's sci-fi, because you have to, make sci-fi feel real is pretty incredible. The story behind When Light Left Us is, it's told the story of 3 siblings who are dealing with the loss of their father. He walked out on them a few years before the story starts, and they're still kind of reeling from that. But what's happened most recently is that an alien has come into their house and sort of taken over pieces of them. It's sort of like a fungus. It's really hard to explain, but let me just assure you that Leah does it beautifully. He takes over the older brother's hands, the middle sister's eyes, and the youngest brother's ears, and basically lives through them in that way and learns what it is to be human. And then one day he leaves them, and so the story picks up right after they've left. And as Erica likes to say, it's basically what happens to the family after E.T. goes home, except that Luz, the main character, is not exactly your cuddly character like E.T. was. So they are sort of reeling from the loss of their father and from the loss of Luz and dealing with various aspects that they're struggling with on their own. The sister is a cutter and she's really depressed. The brother is gay and struggling with coming out. And the youngest brother is autistic and struggling with the fact that people just don't really understand him and that he doesn't understand them. And Luz makes them all feel understood. It makes them feel like the world is beautiful, even though it's not beautiful to them all the time. So I think it's an incredible book. Leah is such a great writer, and every part of this book just warmed my heart and then broke it and then warmed it again and then put it back together and then broke it again. So that's basically what all of Leah's books do, and if you haven't read them, I highly, highly recommend it. This one comes out on February 13th, so get your heart ready. All right, next up is Erica.
Hey guys. Oh, I'm going to need to lift up this chair a little bit. Sorry. Not as tall as Lizzie. Hi everybody. So I'm going to talk about one of our winter books and then I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some of our spring books that are coming. So the book I'm going to talk about is The Unicorn Quest by Camilla Banco. This is the start of a new middle grade fantasy series, but it's definitely the kind of book that can really be read by all ages, younger children, teens, adults. It has a really classic feel. Some of our reviews so far have compared it to Narnia, which I think is a very apt description. So this book tells the story of 2 sisters, Sophie and Claire, and they've begun to grow apart a little bit recently because Sophie has had this mysterious illness. But she's better now, and they've just moved to their aunt's house with their parents, and they're sort of restoring it for the summer. So Claire is super excited because she thinks this is great. Now that Sophie's better, now that we're in this new house, we're going to spend the whole summer hanging out, and we're going to get back to being as close as we've always been for our whole lives. But as soon as they get there, Sophie kind of starts acting weird. And Claire soon discovers that Sophie has actually found a portal to another land in their fireplace. There's a ladder, and Claire follows Sophie up, and they never quite reach the top of the chimney. Instead, they go to Arden. And Arden is a land where unicorns were once roaming the land, but have now become extinct, or so everyone thinks. And there are different guilds that each have different kinds of magical powers and ways that they can work with nature. One of the things I loved about this book is the world building and how really clear and kid-friendly it is. Camilla does a really great job of explaining the different guilds and how their magic works, and everything is really explained and thought out, and you can tell that Camilla really worked out every single detail in her head before she set pen to paper. The other thing I love about this is that this is a wonderful sister relationship told from the point of view of the sister who's kind of been in the shadows her whole life. And she hasn't had a problem with it. She's loved being in her sister's shadow because she loves her so much. But now that Sophie has disappeared into this land and Claire has to find her, she starts to realize her own strength and that she exists as so much more than just Sophie's little sister, and that there are things that she can bring to the table. So I really loved it, and I thought that the writing was so beautiful, and Camilla is just so wonderful. You can follow her online. She's on Twitter at KKBanco. She loves unicorns, and so do we. So then, just to talk about a few books that are coming in spring and give you a little bit of a sneak peek at those. So one of the ones we have, which I actually just finished reading yesterday, is called The Rose Legacy, and this is the start of a new series from Jessica Day George, who wrote the Tuesdays at the Castle series and Silver in the Blood. And this book is about a girl named Anthea. She's an orphan. She's moved around from relative to relative. And finally, she gets sent to an uncle she didn't know she had. And there, she discovers that an animal that everyone around her has always told her is diseased and horrible and extinct still exists, and that's horses. And not only are horses still around, and not only is Anthea terrified to see that they're still around, but she has a power called the Way, which means that she can communicate with horses. And I love that Jessica kind of works with the trope of someone discovering they have powers, because Anthea is not excited. She is horrified to discover that she has this connection to horses, and I really liked how that played out. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, and so sweet and so wonderful, and I really loved it. Something else we have coming this spring is Moonrise by Sarah Crossan. Sarah has won the Carnegie in the UK, and this is a new novel in verse from her about a boy whose older brother is on death row. And I really loved how Sarah looked at forgiveness and what it means to be a family, and what it means when someone you love has done something that is horrible or that they may have done. Another book we have coming, Courtney mentioned The Possible, and this is Tara Altobrando's next book, The Opposite of Here. This is about a girl who is on a cruise with her friends and her parents for her birthday. And one night she meets the most amazing guy, and he seems super wonderful, and they make a plan to meet up later, and he never shows up. And then it seems like he may have never been on the ship at all. Tara was definitely influenced by Hitchcock. She is also, as I am, a huge fan of My Favorite Murder, the podcast, and that definitely all comes into play in this book. And then a few books that I don't have covers for yet because we don't have galleys yet. We have a new middle grade, Breakout, coming from Kate Messner, which is super exciting. We also have the sequel to The Edge of Everything, which was a book that I really, really loved this year, and I can't wait to read the sequel. I've already had a sneak peek at the cover, and it's amazing. We'll be revealing that soon. And then, of course, can't go without mentioning the next thing from Sarah J. Maas. This is in the ACOTAR series, and it'll be narrated by Feyre and Reese. It takes place after the events of ACOWAR, which a lot of you probably know if you get Sarah's newsletter where she announced it. Sarah's hard at work revising it right now. I've only read one scene, but I can tell you that a word that can describe it is steamy. I may have skipped ahead to that scene just to read it first. But like I said, Sarah is hard at work on it, and you'll all get to read it in May. So that brings us to the end of our preview. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you if you watched live. Thank you if you're watching this later. It'll be on YouTube for everyone to see. And please let us know if you're interested in any of these books by tweeting at us with Bloomsbury Winter Preview or just tweeting at us at Bloomsbury Kids. Bye!